Yummy. It's not supposed to be in there. It looks presentable would be the word I'd use to describe it. Well, there's a big hole there now. So now I'm going to take the suspension off. So I've taken the top mounts off there, which you have to do on this. Now I can take all the arms and hubs off because I want to upgrade the hubs to run different brakes. That's both the shocks out now, the coilovers. So just got to whip the hubs off. Then I can try and find a suitable replacement so I can do the brake upgrades. That's the hubs off. They actually came off quite easily, because I've had them off not that long ago when obviously doing service in the van when I was using it. So that was quite easy. So now I can try and find some sort of replacement hub to fit in the gap. I'm hoping some sort of Volkswagen one, because I've got Golf coilovers, which is what those are, not two Golf coilovers. But I was just looking at this front panel here of mine, which is very much past it. And it's just, I thought it was welded on, but it's just bolted on through there and then to the wings, so I might take the bumper off, which is looking a bit crusty anyway here, and see if I can get a replacement one. This is the gear linkage from the Volkswagen gearbox. So the new engine has the Honda type PG1 gearbox, has a completely different linkage, so I'm just going to whip this one out. It's under this little boot here. If anyone who has a Volkswagen would probably recognise this. There's like a weird little fucking boot thing here. It should come off, and then it's all underneath here. But I want to just take the whole lot out, so I'm going to see. It looks like if I can undo those bolts up there, it will come out. Let's see. So I've removed the linkage from the bottom. I just undid that pin there. And now all that's left to do is undo the bolts in the top. So it's just these three now. This cheeky one. And we remove this top quality plate and change gear. There it is. Right, so I'm just trying this new linkage just to see what's going on, because it looks very different than the other one. As you can see, it's solid rods, etc., compared to the other one, which was like the linkages and stuff. Because that literally bolts to the gearbox, but the other one just bolted through this plate up here. This one doesn't go anywhere.
No bueno.
But I'm looking at those two. I'm just consulting the Honda fountain of Honda knowledge, which has been. This is like a Honda linkage, isn't it?
Yeah, it normally just bolts in from underneath, I think.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, is there something that comes down on like a Civic?
I don't really remember what I did on mine, because I removed it, and then the H series has cables.
Ah, okay.
So it doesn't run on like the solid sort of shafts like this one does. But from memory, I think it just literally, yeah, like you say, like on this little rubber bush, sort of mounts up, and that's what sort of holds it up in place.
So
you might have to drill some holes and sort of nut and bolt.
Well, I'm assuming there's something missing. Do you know what I mean? Like that would bolt off maybe those two, like these two.
Would
like a sort of like a little bracket.
That linkage have been used in a Maestro van?
No.
I wonder how much of this is similar to a standard Maestro, or whether all Maestro vans came with the old linkage style and didn't utilise these.
Well, I know they would have come with the diesel, so that would have had something different.
Would this?
I think it. I'm guessing that the diesel had a PG1 box, because I can take the diesel gear out. You know what I was saying earlier about the diesel gear. So I think the diesels had a PG1, so they would have had this. So I reckon there's like some sort of mount that goes from this to the floor somehow.
There is some threaded holes there. So
that's
you
what
might.
I mean.
Where does that sit?
About where they are, give or take. So that goes up. Do you know what I mean?
What's the middle about there, isn't it?
That would-
you could use them and create like a little mountain bracket or something if you.
I reckon there is a factory thing that fits in there, and that would just bolt straight in then.
What's on the old linkage? Is there anything?
Nah, it's just it bolts literally directly to the floor.
Ah, okay.
So, but I reckon there's something that
I mean, that mount would probably benefit from being changed anyway.
It's fine, mate.
If you could get a new one.
Probably get if it's
a big slop, won't it?
Honda gang, you could get a poly.
Yeah, I can't remember what the D series shifter looked like. As I said, I only really took it out my old one and then just went straight in with the H series cables, which makes for better shifting feel with the cables. It's a bit more modern, isn't it?
Torches run out. So I was just going to take the brakes off so I can take the servo out and stuff, because it's a little bit rusty behind it where it's been leaking. And I found out I've got a Bluetooth bracket here. It is a little bit crusty underneath as well, unfortunately. So I'll have to investigate that. But yeah, she's blowing with the wind, that one. So now I've got the caliper off, as you can see. So I'll just have a little poke around here. Sure what's supposed to be there and what's not supposed to be there, to be fair. I have to compare with the other side, but it looks like most of it's like a layer of just this outer layer. And a seam sealer as well, to be fair. Like that's all just seam sealer. All of that. So I'll have a poke around, but it doesn't look too bad. This was the concerning rusty bit which I knew about for a couple of years now. It's not like, it's not horrendous, but it is on obviously the strut tower area, so it probably would be an MOT fail. So I'm just going to investigate, see what's going on. Hello! Hiya!
Oh no!
Straight through. Well, it probably would. It's just got in the seam sealer, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it. Right.
Oh,
there she goes! What's that bottom bit like? Ooh.
I think it's all right there.
Too bad, isn't it?
Just literally
Ooh,
there. A bit thin.
It is a bit.
I think like back here it
shouldn't be too bad back there, should it?
gets to a bit
Oh,
shiny.
it looks alright.
Yeah, shininess there.
That's going to be fairly easy to weld something in, won't
Just
it?
a
And then
few
you can
layers.
seam sealer over it and make it look alright, can't you?
Yeah, it'd be fun. That's like what I wanted to do. Obviously, when the engine's out, that was the
That
plan,
would have
was
been
to
a
do
right twat to do with the engine in, wouldn't
that.
it?
Yeah, especially because the wiring loom's right here as well.
The other side's like absolutely fine though, isn't it?
Yeah.
In comparison, which is pretty
Weird, isn't it?
like surprising.
But then it's gone like down here, isn't it? So
Yeah.
this is a bit.
Oh yeah, should we show the other rusty bit?
Yeah. I did show the start of the poking.
So Alex has had a bit of a pokey boy around here.
That's the finalised poking. I think it's
where
just
the
that.
front subframe mount is, isn't it? Just above that, where the Bluetooth bracket was.
Yeah, I think it's just that outer arch layer rather than any proper
Yeah.
structural bits.
Give it a grind back and
see
sort
what's
it all out, can't you? Treat it and then it'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll have a look from the other side of the arch.
Oh yeah.
Anything left under there?
It doesn't look. Oh, actually, I think it doesn't look too bad, but I reckon around here you might be looking at some
Get a bit further.
some potential rusty bits around there. But it's not too bad. Water's got behind the seam sealer, I think.
I don't think there's supposed to be fluid in there. It's supposed to stay in the master cylinder. It's weird because it never used to leak or really use any fluid when I was using it like regularly. It was only since I parked up it got a lot worse and is clearly dripping. But that ain't supposed to be in there, is it?
Is there a lot in there?
Yeah, look at it.
Ooh, maybe. More than you'd like, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Ta-da! Yummy! It's not supposed to be in there.
So what have you just done, mate?
So it's like pretty solid, isn't it? Ooh. It's like a bubble. A rusty bubble. Crispy. Wait, let me
Get a screwdriver.
Get a sharp object. I had that. Oh, here it is. You got it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I mean, it's not far off going through. I don't think it will, but it's dangerously close. Like it's denting.
Danger zone.
It's denting very easy.
In the fucking danger zone, that, mate.
Tell you where that's going. In the bin.
You know what that is?
Yeehaw, Rusty!
Van.
So that's the engine bay cleaned up. It looks presentable would be the word I'd use to describe it. I haven't gone crazy, it's just to clean it up, but as you can see now it's actually white down here where it's supposed to be white rather than black up to about here. Well, it's done a good job of preserving it. So the only bits of concern is when I took the servo master cylinder out, so it's just leaked down there a bit. It's not like rusty particularly, it's just where the paint's come off. So I'll probably just clean it up and send it. Clean it up, give it a quick paint and then
Bit of spritzy.
it'll be fine, won't it? So just move those pipes out of the way.
Definitely looks a lot better.
But yeah.
Got some active aero.
Yeah,
going on there,
I see that. Yeah, I mean the only thing to say about that is yeehaw, Rusty! So as you can see, I've cleaned it up nicely now. I've just stuck some etch on it just to stop it flash rusting again. These were just the worst bits of the engine bay. Oh, obviously that big hole there as well. Some of it, you know, things like around here, I'm not going to bother too much with. It was just the bits that I know I couldn't get to when everything's back in. So I'll stick some sort of white on it at some point. I think I've got a tin of something lying around, but I mean, there's factory runs on this everywhere, so unless I was to strip and repaint the whole engine bay, it's never going to look mint. But I will probably give it a quick just polish by hand, and that'll just get all the I've cleaned it, but it's still like a bit grimy, and the polish will just take that off, and any sort of little bits like here where it's just little surface rust, 99% of that will come off, and then you won't really notice it. So I'll probably do that before it goes in, but yeah, short of stripping and repainting the whole bay, that's probably the best I'm going to get. So I'm going to have a little bit of a scrape back and investigate on this side. There's a couple more bits here which look a bit crusty, so, and actually where this other side came off there, I might investigate that. So may as well do it while I'm here. So I thought I'd just evaluate where we got so far. So it doesn't look like that goes much further, which is good. It has basically what's happened is the seam here, where it's spot welded through from the strut tower to the sort of inner arch here, water's got in the seam and sat there and blown it apart. So there's, as you can see, there's quite a big depth here, where what it should look like is this, where it's just literally one metal thickness, whereas here, I'll do a close up, but you can see there where it's blown apart. Oh, there's actually a hole there, look. But where it's blown apart, whereas what it should look like is that side there, where it's nice and flush. But it ain't too pretty there, but I think that basically goes straight through into the box section there. So it shouldn't have got any worse. I think what's happened is it's rusted here, and then I guess it's tracked down through the seam. Anyway, it needs to be ground out, and I'll probably end up putting a new lip on here and whatever underneath. So I'm just gonna, oopsie, give it a bit more of a poke. Maybe get a wire wheel on it and just go from there. So there's a similar story here to the other side, obviously not as bad because the other side are completely detached, but it's started to go there, so I'll probably have to take that, drill the spot welds out on that bracket and take it off, and then just address what's underneath. Probably just be a small patch, so that's not too bad. And again, like I said on the other side, it's just the outer sort of wheel arch skin that's gone. Nothing, all the internals still looked solid, so I'd assume it's probably the same this side, if not better. So a little bit to do, but nothing major. So I've taken a wire wheel to it on a grinder now, and that's basically the extent of it. So you can see it's completely gone, well here, but it's gone all around the seam here to about there. And then literally the wire wheel ended up just eating into it there, because as you can see there's pretty much no metal, it's all rust there. Boom, just like that. So I'll probably end up cutting this, just this whole lot off here, and then just making up this little bottom bit. Well, cutting this off, and then probably the inner arch I expect comes to here, so putting in a section there, and then making up this bottom piece here, and well, it's plug welding through, and then seam welding, butt welding that up here as well. So a little bit more than what I thought, but it's still doable. So what I've done here is I've drilled out the spot welds that were holding this piece on sort of round the edge, and I didn't realise there's actually another, the inner arch follows it up further, like that. So I'm trying to work out if it did carry on. Trying to work out if it did carry on all the way here. That it does look a bit like I've cut through there, but that's actually where the edge of the panel is, because here is the top of the chassis rail. Like if you imagine the other side, the chassis rail's there. In fact, you don't need to imagine. So that's the other side of it, yeah. So inside that here is inside that chassis rail box section, which actually is mint, look. So I'm not sure why it's rusted out there. Like I said, probably because water must have tracked down from here. And as you can see, there's like poverty amounts of paint in between. It's like a dusting of primer. So just moisture's got in and just gone in between, and that's it. It's gone. So what I'll probably do is cut up here, cut this bit out. And then, like I said, I'll grind this off and see what it comes up, but I'll probably end up just cutting it out and just remaking this piece here, and then remaking the top piece that I just cut off, and then boop, bonking it back on. Obviously it's a little bit more complicated up here, but cross that bridge when we get to it.
success.
Well, there's a big hole there now. However, it's not a rusty hole, it's a non-rusty hole. So that's all the rust cut out. I've done it in sections there, as you can see. It's weird because it's not really rusty the other side of there. A little bit there maybe, but nothing crazy. There is actually wax oil in there. I'm not sure if that's factory or from when I did wax oil it, because I know I took all these little square grommets out and fired wax oil in them, you know, with the little tube. So maybe that did something, maybe it didn't, but it's got in there clearly. So, but I'll fire a load of wax oil in there, obviously, while it's open. So yeah, not too bad really. Shouldn't be too complicated. I'll just make a piece here, as you can see it overlaps there. So I'll make the piece coming off this side, comes up to the middle like that. Then a piece from here that goes up to there probably, and then a piece that goes up and joins, and then basically the strut tower piece will go over the top of all of that, and then it'll be plug welded round where the spot welds originally were. So that's the plan, but now I've just got to execute it at some point. So well, Ben has got a new welder, but we're going to get some gas for it, which we haven't yet. So, because he'll obviously need quite a lot for his Beetle, but I'll pinch some now and again when he's not using it, and try and get this tacked together. But I mean, the thing that takes the longest time is making up all the panels, like the bits of metal. So I'll probably start doing that. Hey guys, so as you can see, we have a nice upgraded light on a stand. So we don't have to mess around with torches as much anymore when recording, especially in dark places like this wheel arch. I've started making the replacement panels for this, or the patches. The first bit I've made was to replace this section here, because there's one section here, then there's the piece that goes the other side that overlaps. You can see they overlap there, that joins in here, and then I'll probably do a separate piece for up here, and then the bottom sort of end of the strut tower piece that goes over the top that was there-ish. So yeah, as I was saying, first piece there, ta-da! So a case of cutting it out to the right shape and then marking, you see it sort of dishes in there to follow the contour of the bottom of that strut tower piece. So I've done that there just with hammers. We don't actually have a hammer and dolly kit here, so I've had to make do with what we got. So I've done that bit. Now I've already cut out the other piece ready. I've just got to make the dished area now. So that's bashed into place, sort of best I can get it. It overlaps with this one quite nicely. So I think I'm going to call that done. I will just trim off this top bit here so they match. And then it's more room for the top panel to go over the top. But let's see what it looks like on the van. So as you saw, the first piece sits in there-ish. And then the second piece should slot over the top, something like that. There we are. So once they're welded in, I will plug weld through so they are overlapped, and because originally they're spot welded in the middle, and then just butt weld around the edge. Just needs a little bit more trimming here and there. But I'll weld this one on first, and then do the final trimming on this one, and then probably make the rest. So it needs obviously a patch here where the actual hole was, which I'll probably do after these two are welded in, and then the piece with the seam and the flange that goes actually over the top of them both. So on this side, what I've done is just have a scrape back. As you can see, where the other side had completely gone, this side is fine, because it's still painted underneath. There's no signs of the seams bulging. It's just the original seam sealer there. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll probably end up wax oiling it again anyway. It's just, I've always wax oiled it over the years, and it's built up quite thick in this area now. So I think that's what saved it, or what's kept it not rusty, apart from this bit here. But I'm not surprised, because the water's just going to trap behind that bracket that was there. So I've just also undone the bolt from here, and then taken out one of them there and loosened the other one, just so I can pull this bracket down and make sure it's not gone actually underneath to where it bolts in. There we go. So it looks okay under there. It's solid. There is sort of a thicker plate here, so that's quite good, because then I can weld this sort of outer arch panel. I think what's happened is it's gone on the seam, if you remember from the other side, they sort of overlap somewhere here originally, and I expect that the water's gone in behind the bracket and blown the seam. So I'll probably end up just cutting a square out, putting a patch in, and then welding the bracket back on top of that, and then that'll do, I think. So let's just clean it back, make sure it doesn't go any further, and then cut out the rust and make a panel to go in. So there you can see where the two layers were. So this was on top, and then there was a layer that went underneath, which is subsequently rotted away. I just drilled out those two spot welds. You can see that's fine. I can just zip it off here, go around there, down there, and make a piece that goes underneath, and then probably a piece to go over this bit, which just lips around the edge. So it should be pretty straightforward. That's it taken back there underneath. Some of the metal came off there. I think it's just a reinforcing layer or something there, but it feels pretty strong to me. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. All the rust has come off now, so I'm just going to give that a quick coat of paint of some sort, and make a panel for it. So I just chucked some etch on that just for now, and then the panels here all made up. So we got the one that goes on the left first, and the other one laps over the top, and then I'll plug weld it through and peen the edge over so it follows this bit here. So I've been getting to grasp with a new welder, so don't judge the welds too harshly. So that's the patches put in on this side. I've tried to make it so it mirrors, where that piece overlaps, and I've welded the little brake pipe bracket back on there. So I'm going to give that a dose of some brushable seam sealer in a minute, which is what the factory did anyway in that area. So that should cover that all up nicely, and then I'll just put some white paint of some description on it, because I'm going to wax oil it again anyway. Same deal with this bit up here, which is a little bit surface rusty, so I took that back as well. This side, I've welded in this piece first, then I've overlapped it with this piece and done a little plug weld here. So now I can make the patch to go in here, and then a piece probably in two sections to come down here, and then overlap this bit and join here. How this bit carried on, but it's gone in quite nicely. That's that bit welded in there. Welds a lot nicer from the top down rather than underneath. I'm assuming that's just the way that the weld falls. don't know, but that was welding lovely along the top there. So now I'll just grind it off and then make the last couple of pieces for this bit. It's a bit more complicated than I thought, but and then there's a little bit under the bracket that holds the brake pipe, same as the other side, which we're going to investigate. But I'll just finish off this side now. So that's all the welding completed on the front end of the van, at least. I think there's a couple of bits in the back wheel arches, but I'll investigate that when I get to it. But this is enough to now get the engine and box in and everything once I'm happy with that, which was the main plan really, to get it welded up. So I know I don't have to mess around in there anymore. So I'll just show you now I've painted it as well. So I've etch primed it and I've just gone over with some white 2K. It was very white, like way too white, because the van is actually it's a bit of an off-white. It's called white diamond, if any Austin Rover nerds are out there. But if you put it next to something which is white, it looks like beige almost. It's very off-white. So I had a very white, and I had some gold lying around, so I just put a bit of gold on it to make it a bit off-white. So it's not really the right colour, but it's, you know, close enough for especially for under here. So that one's all done. Again, the other side all welded up nicely, so it's retained the original shape of the flange there that overlaps, which is what I wanted, and then welded the little brake pipe bracket back on. And then inside, again, you can see that the shade is not correct. It is, even still looks very much too white, but hey, it's it will do for now. It was mainly that one back there, because obviously when the engine's in, you can't get to that. These ones I could probably get some paint matched up and just brush over them again if I wanted to. But I'm sure once it gets a bit dirty and grimy, it's not going to be too noticeable. So yeah, pretty happy with that. All welding done, especially this bit I'm quite happy with. Went in nice, kept that original line that butts up against the strut tower there. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And now, well, obviously that would have definitely been an MOT fail because it is next to the suspension component mounting point. So that one needs to be done anyway. And the other ones were where the subframe bolts on anyway, so they needed to be done. So that'll probably do us for this episode. Next episode, I can start bolting some more bits onto the engine, and I'm going to investigate what clutch to run, and then I can hopefully get the engine and box in for good.